Let's make some 3D ghost texture art. First, you'll need a canvas of any size. For this tutorial, I'm using a small 4x4 canvas. I painted the background black, but you can paint it whatever color you'd like. If you choose to paint your background a color or assorted colors, make sure that you leave room at the top for what you're going to be able to see, as we're going to be covering the bottom with ghosts. If you end up with some little marks on your canvas, it's totally okay. We'll cover those up. You'll also need a little more black paint and a very fine tip brush. You'll need your texture gel. I pre-made my mix. For this particular project, I used half extra heavy gel in a semi-gloss formula and half modeling paste. I chose this mixture because I wanted it to be pretty opaque white, but I liked a little bit of the translucence of the texture gel. So this is firm enough to really keep those stiff peaks, but soft enough that it's easy to move around. Last but not least, you'll want either a rounded palette knife or old cardboard and some scissors. If you don't have a palette knife, I would just take your old cardboard and some scissors and cut out a couple rectangles. They don't need to be a certain size or anything precise. And then we'll just round off the edge at the top. You're just going to make a vague ghost shape. The great thing about making your own is that you can have multiple sizes for different canvases, or even to work together like a little ghost family. But we're going to use this one today. Using your palette knife or piece of cardboard, you're kind of going to do the opposite that you would instinctively want to do. Instead of grabbing your paint with a spoon, you're going to grab the paint with the back of your spatula. And you want to have a decent amount on there. Maybe about that much. You would rather have too much than not enough. If you don't have enough, you'll just scrape all the way through down to your canvas, and you want a nice thick ghost. If you see any little edges like that you don't want a little spiky in your ghost hair, just kind of brush the edge off. Now figure out where you would like your first ghost. Make sure to use different levels and put them in different parts of your canvas. So here we'll start up here at the top, press down until you see the gel start to come out of the outside of your little spatula, and then pull straight down before ever lifting up. You want to create that long ghost body. It's okay to have this rough here. We're going to paint over it. Now get another bit of your texture paste and make your next ghost. Make sure that you're working from back to front, because if you do something down here and then you go to do a ghost here, you're going to cover up the one you already did. So start at the back and work your way forward, making sure you're doing different levels. Leave space for some other ghosts you may want to put in as you go. Here, maybe we'll put this one right here with a little bit of space. If it comes over the edge like this, that's okay. Grab another scoop. We'll overlap here and start bringing our ghosts down. If there's something you don't like, just go back over it. Make sure you're staying within that same area that you already had, so you're not creating new shapes. And continue in this method until you have all of your ghosts complete. There's a really great example of I pushed too hard and the gel kind of came out the sides and scraped down the tip of my cardboard through the middle. So we'll just get a little bit more on there. Be a little bit more careful to push down and slide. There's really no way to mess this up. We're just making some silly ghosts. Keep your levels defined and just touch up your shapes when needed. And on this little front row, it's okay to have your ghost be a little see-through at the bottom. We'll put one more down here in the corner. He'll just be some eyeballs. If at any point you don't like how things are going, just scrape your spatula off, pick up some more gel, and start over. I think we need one more in the middle. There's the start of our little ghost family. Now we'll let it dry, probably about 24 hours. It will start to develop a little bit of a solid edge around it, kind of like a skin or a film. And at that point, it will be safe to touch, but it can still be manipulated with heat or pressure. So I would just leave it alone for about 24 hours. If you're super impatient and you want to go ahead and do the final step now, get a little bit of black paint and your fine tip brush. Make sure you roll the brush in the paint so that the tip of the brush stays nice and pointy. If you go like this, it will splay out a little bit. So if you make sure to spin the brush, it will keep the tip nice and sharp. We'll go in on each little ghost and add some eyeballs. However your first eye turns out, it's usually easiest to try to make the second one match. Once you start overcorrecting, then all of a sudden you'll have ghosts with really big eyeballs. You can give them faces, different types of eyes, different emotions, or just make them little spooky ghosts. If you're doing this while your texture paste is still wet, make sure you're not digging in with the brush. We're just putting some little dots right on the surface. I like making each ghost look a little different. And then your ghosts that are on different layers, make sure if it's just a little bit of their head showing, you put the eyeballs where they should be and give your ghost a little personality. This is a lot easier if you wait until it is dry, but if you're careful, you can do it while it's wet. I just decided these two have big eyes over here and these all have little eyes, so I'm going to make these eyes a little bit bigger. And this little guy that's just a forehead, I think we're going to leave him without eyeballs. We'll do some little eyes over here to finish our last ghost. And then you have your cute little 3D texture ghost family.